Welcome back to TVC 22. Today is November 11th, Remembrance Day, and here with us we have Robert Marin of the Royal Canadian Legion. First off, Robert, I want to thank you and the Legion for the work it's done for our veterans and for organizing the Remembrance Day ceremony this year.
Oh, you're welcome. It's an important event for the Legion, and our motto is lest we forget, so we had to make sure we can gather a community best we can in COVID times, so we will not forget.
Wonderful. And just getting right into it, how is planning the ceremony this year? Were there any difficulties or challenges?
Oh, there are a lot of challenges, absolutely. The Legion obviously had to work with a lot of the Eastern Health Unit protocols, and we were never sure about spacing and attendance. This year is a little bit larger, we hope, than last year. COVID has taken a toll on all organizations, and a volunteer group like the Legion suffers greatly in terms of our commitment to one another, and our Poppy campaign itself is limited this year because of spacing and the volunteers that were able to man the tables. But we did manage the Poppy campaign at Walmart, and it was very successful this year, and we're thankful to the support of Walmart to allow the Legion to have its presence. But like all organizations and institutions in COVID, we're all on a learning curve.
And speaking of the Poppy campaign, how much money were we able to raise this year?
Yes, it's not official yet, but I heard this morning that we raised around $5,100 through the Poppy campaign, about another $3,500 through the merchandise sales. So merchandise includes our caps, our pins, our souvenirs of remembrance. So those things will be added up. We officially will do the count starting tomorrow. So it's been a successful campaign at that point. And this is a very important year for us because it is the 100th anniversary of the Poppy campaign, established in 1921, largely by two women that were concerned about the needs of those who were injured in the war and widows of the war. So the Poppy campaign raised money beginning in France to help support that. It was introduced in Canada in 1921. I believe we were the first Commonwealth nation to install the Poppy campaign, and the Poppy's been a strong symbol of remembrance for the Canadian Legion and indeed around the world.
Perfect. And coming back to here in Clarence Rockland, all the money that we raised this year, how is it going to be used for
So the money raised through the Poppy Trust campaign goes directly into veteran services. It supports the Pearly Hospital in Ottawa for veteran hospital needs. It'll support the veterans living on the street. There's a campaign to get them off the street. We recently just opened Veterans House, former Rockcliffe Air Base. Those kinds of programs are supported by the Poppy Trust. There's also bursaries given to children of grandparents who served, educational bursaries. Any needs that the veterans may have in terms of health services, providing support for wheelchairs, those kinds of things. All those things are in an application form toward the Legion that we would distribute the money out.
And speaking of veterans, which conflicts do you have to be a part of to be considered for these services? And do you need to be a part of the Legion?
No, Legion is open to the public. I myself, as a civilian minister, I'm not a war veteran. I've served my time in the United Church of Canada, and I've become Padre for the Legion over the last 10 years. The Legion has obviously opened its membership to those who serve in Canadian Armed Forces. It's also open to RCMP members, former RCMP members, and to the general public in a wider way. Auxiliary memberships, and anyone can join the Legion if you have a heart for serving your community. It's certainly a place for you.
Perfect. And bringing it back to today, for those who might not be able to attend a Remembrance Day ceremony for whatever reason, whether it be work or just because of COVID, how can they show their respect?
So obviously, one of the things we're very proud of is last year we instituted the banners on Laurier Street to name the 14 that had fallen from the city, 5 from World War I and 9 from World War II. Those banners have been on the streets of Laurier for most of this month. It's an opportunity for anybody to come sometime today or throughout the week to take a look at the banners, maybe have a solemn reflection underneath one of those banners. Perhaps a family name is connected to you. We don't know who who the relatives are in this community. It'd be wonderful to hear from people if they know that they have a relative that is listed on the war monument or on the banners. Those are ways that you can personally do some of your own research. If your last name should appear on the banner, check it out, find out maybe there's a history there. Maybe there's a lost relative you didn't know, especially in the First World War. So there are moments that you can, throughout watching this program, take a silent moment in reflection, come down to the cenotaph anytime after today and pay your tribute to the cenotaph, and again, take special attention to the names most listed on the cenotaph. The front part is World War I, on the side is, World War II, on the side is World War I, but those names are listed on their banners on the street. So that's a way to commemorate.
As a history student myself, I think I will find some time to go down
Wonderful.
to the museum soon. Robert, I just wanted to kind of touch on a long debate that's been going on for a long time. Whether or not Remembrance Day should be should change from a federal holiday to a statutory holiday.
Wow.
I know there's some pros and cons on both sides, but I was wondering what the Legion stances was.
I can't
veterans.
speak on behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion Canada. I can only give you my personal opinion, and that is whether it's a holiday with work time given to you off, or whether it's a day that you just find reflection. It's an important day on our calendar. It's an important day for this country. Our democracies depend upon our freedoms, and our freedoms were fought in a very dramatic way, in a sacrificial way for this day. So I hope that whether you had the day off or not, you would find time to at least silently reflect. Of course, it would be wonderful if we were, as a nation, to celebrate in a larger way. COVID has restricted a lot of that, and I just ask for personal reflections.
Perfect. And just speaking back to Remembrance Day, it's been almost 100 years since we've been celebrating it, since 1931. As each year passes, do you feel that people have started to forget the meaning?
Yes. Armistice Day actually is older than that. It's established from the end of the First World War. So Armistice Day was established at the end of 1918. I believe most monuments across Canada would have been erected probably within a couple of years in 1918, 20s. So it's in our culture. We as most people who have grown, were birthed in this country, know the stories. Those newcomers that have arrived in Canada hear the stories, how important our war efforts were for First and Second World War. We have had ebbs and flows of importance of Remembrance Day, and certainly when the Canadian military were involved in Afghanistan. Many people, not just on November 11th, many people wore red shirts on Red Fridays as a way of supporting our troops. We don't need to be a military action to remember our troops. Our troops do great work in peacetime, civilian support as well. So I think it's more important to understand our culture, where we come from, and how we express the freedoms that we receive and the rights and privileges we have in Canada through honoring those who've gone before us.
And just final question, Robert. Amidst the chaos of these times due to COVID-19, just why is it so important? Can you explain again why it's so important just to take a moment today just to remember our veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms?
All lives are based on history. You can't get around that. We have a history before us of those who've gone before us, and we must remember those who've made those sacrifices so that we can take our part and move our society peacefully forward.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. God bless.
Don, I know it's an emotional day for everyone. How are you feeling right now?
A lot of pride. I have a lot of pride. I come from a military family. My grandfather served in the First World War. My father is a Korean War veteran, or was. So, yeah. Myself, I served in the Army for 40 years. So it's a very proud day for me to be able to stand here and pay tribute to those who have gone before me.
Of course. And just thinking about this year, just in terms of the difficulties that were involved because of COVID, how was planning the ceremony?
It was difficult. We had a lot of things we had to do to get around the restrictions with COVID. a lot of dealings with the Eastern Ontario Health Board and then with the city. But as you saw, everything came together, and I think it went rather well.
Perfect. And I do want to touch on your involvement with the Legion. And you are the president, so how long have you been the president for now?
I'm in my 4th term now as the president, so it's 4 years as the president. We're a very small Legion here in Rockland. We have about 50 members. We don't have a Legion Hall, so we focus more on the service aspects of the Legion. We run the Poppy campaign. We raise the Poppy funds for donations to veteran charities, youth development. We're a big sponsor of the local Cadet Corps. We provide donations yearly to organizations like the Pearly Rideau Veterans Home and whatnot. So yeah, we still keep it as active as we can, given what we have.
It's perfect. And so the Legion has been in place since 1925, almost 100 years. What was the main objective then, and how has it changed since?
I think the main objective when it started was to give a venue for the veterans, the people coming back from the war, some way to take care of each other. And to that extent, that's still what we do today. I mean, we're very much about supporting organizations like the homeless veterans and try to keep them off the street. We've been involved with many different charities which are dealing with how to teach veterans to deal with PTSD, how even for their children. One of the charities we support is a Camp Maple Leaf, which provides assistance to children who have parents who suffer from PTSD. So we support all these activities still. So we're still really about the same, our purposes are the same. We haven't changed. That's what our mission is to support the veteran.
And I know you said that this specific branch in Clarence Rockland is a little smaller, and coupled with COVID-19, what are the challenges?
Oh, they're big challenges because with the results of the pandemic, we haven't had any actual meeting place for the last year. We've been managing to get by, the old telephone network thing, contacting each other. We get together to do things like this still, so we still manage. It's a little bit of a challenge, but nothing that can't be overcome.
Perfect. And final question, Don. What does the future of the Legion look like presently, and what should people do? How can people get involved?
Well, it's easy to get involved. All you got to do is come in, tell us you want to be a member, get involved with us. The more people we have, the more we'll be able to do. That's the way I look at it. We are still managing to raise funds and contribute to the community and the region. With the small numbers we have, I think there's nowhere to look but up. And if we can continue our growth, I think there's still a future for the Legion here in Rockland. We're going to do all right.
Perfect. And is there a final thing you want to say just in honor of the veterans that have served?
All I can say is, if you have the opportunity, lend them an ear. Because most of them, that's all they want is somebody to talk to. So lend them an ear for a little bit if you can, and more than that, I think everybody already does their part for remembrance. So no, beyond that, no. That's about it. Lend them an ear and take the time to listen to them and to talk with them.
Thank you so much, Don.
Well, thank you.